What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Full 90. The international break is over. It's past us. And today we're coming back with the Premier League. Now, recently, in the last few weeks, I've been doing quite well with my predictions. I've also made predictions on other games that I haven't made videos about. And I've done really well. I did extremely well on the League 1 and League 2 games last week, predicting well over 10, I think, in both leagues, which was awesome. So that's correct results, by the way, not correct score. So today we're going to go with Week 9. But first of all, I want to give a massive shout out to Lazy Parkour, who commented his Premier League predictions for Week 8 on the last video. And he actually did really well. He correctly predicted the score of 3 games. The Brighton game, the Chelsea game, and the Liverpool-Man City game. So congratulations to you. So let's look back on how I did for the Week 8 predictions. Now, I actually didn't do too bad. A few mistakes here and there, but then, of course, there was an upset or two, as there often is in the Premier League. But the first game, I went for West Ham beating Brighton 2-1. Brighton actually just won 1-0. The next game, Burnley 2, Huddersfield 0. It was my prediction, and it ended 1-1. So, interesting. Questionable performance for Burnley, especially after beating Bournemouth 4-0 a few weeks back. I got the Wolves Crystal Palace score exactly right, a 1-0 win to Wolves. The Leicester Everton, I got it the wrong way around. I said 2-1 to Leicester, and it was actually 2-1 to Everton in the end. Tottenham versus Cardiff, I said it would be 3-1 to Tottenham. It was actually a lot more subdued. It was just a 1-0 win to Tottenham. The next game, I and most other people got very, very wrong. I said 2-1 to Watford against Bournemouth, and Bournemouth turned it up, made Watford look like a championship team, and won 4-0 away, which is an incredible result for them. Manchester United, Newcastle, I almost got the right result. I predicted 3-1 to United, but obviously they were 2-0 down the first 10 minutes, but did manage to win the game 3-2, so close there, but not quite right. The next one, I predicted 2-0 to Arsenal, a routine win. They actually went way further and won 5-1, which again, I don't think any person would have predicted a scoreline as specific and obviously accurate as 5-1 to Arsenal. I correctly predicted the Chelsea-Southampton game 3-0 to Chelsea, and I predicted Man City would beat Liverpool 2-1, and they would have won 1-0 had Mahrez actually scored the penalty, but he completely whiffed it like he does with the majority of his penalties, and it actually ended in 0-0. So apart from the upset of Watford and Bournemouth, I did pretty well. The Brighton, West Ham, and Leicester Everton, they were a lot closer and stuff like that, but other than that, probably one of my best Premier League weeks. Now, this next one is difficult to call for Week 9, but kicking it off, we have probably the biggest game of the weekend, Chelsea versus Manchester United. Now, in years gone by, this might have been an easier fixture for Man United. Chelsea have never been, they've never been any mugs. They've always been pretty decent, but maybe a few years ago, Man United would have had the upper hand here. But at Stamford Bridge, Chelsea are looking very strong. A bit of a dark horse in many ways in this Premier League season, because a lot of people didn't even think of them potentially being in the title race. And in my opinion, right now, they're in it. Do I think they're going to win the Premier League? No, I don't. But could they finish above Liverpool if Liverpool's form starts to drop a little bit, if injuries come in like they have been this week? I think Chelsea could give Liverpool a run for their money, certainly for the second spot, if Man City are destined to win the Premier League, as many other people thought. So I'm going to go with a 2-0 win to Chelsea here. Chelsea are... They're very near the top of the table, but they're also very solid, and they don't concede too many goals. So I do think Chelsea are going to get the win. It could be 2-1, because obviously Man United do have world-class firepower when it's, going right for them. But realistically, I do think Chelsea are going to win, possibly not by 2 goals. But my prediction for this video is Chelsea 2 and Man United 0. Now, this next one is really the one I struggle with, because... okay, so it's West Ham versus Tottenham at home. West Ham, obviously, they held Chelsea to a 0-0 draw at their ground. They beat Man United 3-1, which is insane. And honestly, if I had to pick a winner of this fixture, I would pick Tottenham. Tottenham are beginning to pick up form. So my heart tells me 2-1 to Tottenham. I think Tottenham are going to win, but my head, and for this video, it's a bit of a ballsy one to predict against the top 6 team. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw. I don't think that's too out there, but I partly think that Tottenham are going to win, but for this video, we'll go with a 1-1. But if Tottenham win, I will not be surprised. The next game, Newcastle versus Brighton. I think this is going to be very tough. Both Newcastle and Brighton are struggling, and both are much better at their home ground. So obviously Newcastle has the home advantage, and Brighton haven't won an away game in the longest time. I'm pretty sure it's their last 17 away games. They have failed to win any of them, and I think this is the perfect game to come to Newcastle for them to actually get a win this year in the Premier League. And I do think Newcastle are going to just edge the win with a low-scoring 1-0. They'll score a goal maybe in the first half like they did against Manchester United, and then be a little bit more clinical at the back, smarter, park the bus, do what they do, and actually walk away with the 3 points. The next game, Bournemouth hosting Southampton. Southampton obviously have had a very shaky few weeks. I think the last 3 games they haven't even scored once, losing 2-0 to Wolves and then 3-0 to Liverpool and Chelsea. Both 3-0s I actually predicted, which is kind of, it could be misleading a little bit because obviously those are 3 very good teams. Wolves in very good form, and then obviously Chelsea and Liverpool, some of the best in the league. So I don't think they're going to, you know, not concede at all. I do think they'll score a goal, but I think Bournemouth, on the other hand, have just been so good. Minus that 4-0 loss to Burnley, a game which you'd expect Bournemouth to win. And had Bournemouth won that game against Burnley, they'd be in, like, 3rd spot, I think, ahead of Arsenal and Tottenham and all that. And they're still currently in 6th, so I do think at home and with the attacking power that Bournemouth have, they're going to win this fixture 3-1. I can't remember if I said at the beginning of the video to leave your comment with your predictions for this week to be featured in next week's, but if you've watched this far and you haven't done that, pause the video, go down and do that right now, and I'll pick one of you to feature in the next video. And by that I mean the next Premier League video, because the next video on the channel will be the Champions League predictions, which I am super excited about. Coming up is a very, very tough one to call: Cardiff versus Fulham. I was at first tempted to go for a Cardiff win, and then I was thinking maybe a Cardiff draw, but then I sat down and really thought, I just can't see it. I'm hoping Cardiff prove me wrong in a way. I kind of hope Cardiff win. And if Cardiff do win this game, they will go above Fulham in the table because of how terrible Fulham's goal difference actually is. Like, it's on par with Cardiff's right now, even though they won a game, which is absolutely terrible. But Fulham, with the likes of, they've got Mitrovic, they've got Schürrle, and, you know, both really good players. And I just think they should be a level above Cardiff. It should be Cardiff in the relegation zone and Fulham in the lower to mid-table range. That's how it should finish, and that's why I'm going for this result, a 2-1 to Fulham. But again, this could easily be a draw or a Cardiff win. This one and the Spurs game, I wouldn't put any money on it. That's for sure. Coming up next, we have Wolverhampton versus Watford. Wolves are one of my favourite teams this year. I really like them. I got a lot of time for them. I've watched quite a lot of highlight videos of them last year in the Championship, and I remember watching the highlight videos, and I was like, where's even Cavallero at then in the Premier League? And it turned out he was actually injured, and then as soon as he comes off an injury, he scores against Southampton with his first Premier League touch, I'm pretty sure, and that's the guy I saw in those videos, and I've got a lot of time for Wolves. They're very, very strong in the attack, and they're strong at the back. They're strong at the back, letting in very few goals. One of the best defenses in the league. They don't score too many, but they don't really have to. However, Watford, we'll forget the Bournemouth result for now. Watford are pretty strong in the attack, and I do think they'll grab one, but I think Wolves at home are just going to be too strong. So I think whatever happens, Wolves will win. Could possibly be a draw, but I think Wolves will win. And on the basis that I think Watford will grab one in this game, you know, trying to push for some goals, get back into form, I think it's going to be a 2-1 win to Wolves. The last few weeks I've predicted Wolves to win to 0, and they have done, but this one I'm going with Wolves 2, Watford 1. Coming up, we have Manchester City versus Burnley at the Etihad Stadium. Now, I'm pretty sure that Kevin De Bruyne might be playing. I can't really say pretty sure that he might be, because that's just not really sure at all, but it looks like Kevin De Bruyne might be playing for Manchester City, and if he does, that will really boost them. And it's not like they're against an absolutely fantastic team. They are against Burnley. Yes, they beat Bournemouth 4-0, which keeps coming up, but they have been struggling since. And, you know, obviously they drew with Huddersfield, which is not a result that they'd expect, especially at home. So I think Man City are going to win this one 3-0. It could be more, but 3-0 sounds more likely. The next game is Huddersfield versus Liverpool. Now, Liverpool do have a few injuries in there. I think Salah is a doubt due to possibly a hamstring issue. And a few other players in the Liverpool squad. Obviously, a lot of them did international matches in the international break, so there might be a few doubts there. I know Firmino played for Brazil in their late win against Argentina, but I think he'll be fit for this game. And injuries aside, I don't think Huddersfield have the strength to hold off one of the best teams in the Premier League, so I'm going to go with 3-1 to Liverpool. I do think Huddersfield will score because they can do that. They are capable of doing that. But I think Liverpool are actually going to win this one 3-1. The next game is Everton versus Crystal Palace. Now, there was actually a rumour that Zaha might be a doubt after the international break with Ivory Coast due to an injury. So if Wilfried Zaha doesn't play, I predict Crystal Palace not to score at all. So this could change. But my prediction that I've got written down here, I might change it. I've got written down 2-1 to Everton. Everton have a really strong team, and they are picking up form, and they should be finishing in the top half of the table, and it's looking like they probably will. So I'm gonna say for this video 2-1, but if they win 2-0, it wouldn't surprise me, but I'll go with Everton 2-1. And the final game, the Monday night match, the team I support, Arsenal against Leicester. Now, this is interesting. I've got written down here 2-0 Arsenal, and I'm going to stick with that. Now, obviously, Arsenal have been a bit leaky at the back, and Leicester are extremely good on the counter-attack. So, to be honest, I'd be a little bit surprised if Leicester don't score in this game. However, I do think Arsenal are going to win maybe 2-1, 3-1. It could be a mad 4-2. 2-2, 3-3, something like that. I'm going to go with 2-0 for this video. Although I think it's entirely possible that Leicester could score, I'm going to stick with my guns and think, you know, Arsenal are going to keep it together, get their defence sorted, because they know that's what Leicester are going to want to do. They're going to play the long balls, try and get in behind the defenders and score. I think Arsenal are going to take the steps to stop that and get their, what I believe to be their 10th win in a row, which would be awesome for them. And I do think Arsenal are going to win this game. So that does it for this week's predictions. If you did enjoy it, then be sure to leave a like on this video. Subscribe today. Turn on notifications if you enjoy these prediction videos. I love making them. It's super fun to take a break from my main channel and come over to this channel and make these videos. I'm obviously very interested in it. So yeah, that is going to do it for this one. And I will see you in the next video for the Champions League predictions. Catch you later.